Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 159 of Forever Exiled. And Tyler gets a message like seconds.
It's on Do Not Disturb. It's a Pro D Day, so there's only one. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, this one is from my wife, but it's already message number 2, and it says RE something else. So I'm like, okay, hang on a sec. This is.
Oh boy.
If she has an emergency now, is gone. Forget it. D&D is off.
Unbelievable.
And this is just perma-silent. She ruined it.
That's amazing. I love how fast it was.
I know,
right off the
perfect
bat.
timing too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll be included, but anyway.
Oh, it's included. You might not hear
Aaron,
that. I need to get that WhatsApp sound from you, because I think typically the actual notification doesn't come through after I do all the work on the audio, but I should add it in.
Oh,
But I can't find that sound that you have that makes the WhatsApp sound.
oh, well, I'll send it to you.
Do you have the actual audio file?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, send it to me.
Well, there's just an app where you type in what you want the program to say, and then it says
record it or something for me.
Sure, but the I would replace it in a heartbeat for 2 things.
Okay.
The old ICQ.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Remember that? No, that one's awesome. And then anything Torg. Remember when like these companies used to give out these WAV files for free? I haven't actually looked very hard. Maybe it's easy to find, but I always used to have for my emails, that sentence had too many syllables.
Right.
Apologize.
Every
Torg
email?
from Borderland.
Oh my God.
Every email. Well, I don't have your job, man. Every time I get an email, it's
like something. Okay.
Well, it's legit.
Sure.
Yeah. So I don't have to swipe away too many. So
I can't even imagine.
Anyway.
Mine would just be like, I would hear Torg all day. But that would be fun. I bet you could find it. I bet you we could find it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Patrons. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the podcast and everybody who supports us via Patreon. If you're curious what our Patreon is, it gets you access to After Dark, which is our podcast after the podcast. We just keep talking. And that's what we do.
That's it.
Yep.
That's
We
it.
have a good time. And yeah, big shout out. You guys all rock. Thank you so much for supporting us each week. Hey, also, I said this in After Dark last week, and I was like, I need to make sure I bring it up next week. Thank you, everybody, for getting us over 100 on Spotify. You guys are super duper. And I think over
100 what?
100
Keywords,
reviews.
Justin.
100
There we go.
reviews. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, just hit that 5-star button. It helps us out, and we really appreciate it. I think we're at like 42 or something on Apple Spotify, but I think we're at 109 now on Spotify. So I don't know if I just said Spotify for Apple, but anyway, yeah, we really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for smashing that 5-star button.
We really appreciate your support. Whether you're a Patreon or just a listener, it's all fantastic.
Love
So
it.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, just
Yeah, buddy.
a couple special days coming up.
Mm-hmm.
October 23rd,
What's that?
2013.
Okay.
Path of Exile was released on PC.
Is that like a pre-beta, or was that like, what was that?
Every year we say this.
Okay,
I don't
we
know.
don't know, but
it just says PC Windows
official
release.
release. Okay.
Right.
Maybe, well, no, it does. If it was official release, then it would be not beta.
They would know. They would know.
Yeah.
So you know what? 13,
Maybe it was post-beta.
9 years. 9 years.
Wow. Cool.
Right? We're 2022, right?
We are. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No,
Very
yeah.
cool.
So yeah, 9 years ago.
Nice.
Bon fête,
Mhm.
guys. Bon fête. What's the fête? GG. Bon fête.
Is that how you say it?
That's probably no, that's just GGG as an actual word as opposed to an acronym. GGG.
Oh,
Anyway, also Justin's birthday is coming up this
It
week, so make
is.
sure you heckle him lots.
It is.
And hey, Justin, how old are you?
I'll be
Gonna be.
40. I will be
Woo!
40. It's awesome. I love that I share my birthday with one of my kids, because then I don't have to do anything for my birthday.
That is a dream come true.
It's actually
man.
pretty awesome, because then I'm like, no, we don't need to do something for me. It's Logan's birthday. Let's do something for him. So
How old's Logan turning?
13.
Oh,
Yep, hitting the
number
teens.
2 in the teens. Good for you.
Mhm. Yep. So good stuff. Good
Right
stuff.
on.
How's
Happy
your,
birthday, Just.
thanks, buddy. How's your week?
I like you a little bit. So happy birthday.
Yeah, you do.
I had a good week.
Okay.
It was we had an awkward school week this week. We have parent teacher interviews at the school. I mean, you have kids in a couple of different schools. I
It's
don't
the
know what
same
it was
thing.
like at Logan's school, but at the elementary school, it was parent-teacher interviews this week where we get to hang out with the teachers and ask them questions about how great or crappy our kids are at school, and they do their best to be honest with us. And so, what was it? Wednesday they got out at just after 11. Thursday they get out just after 12, and that gives them space to have all these interviews, one-on-ones with parents. And then Friday, today, it's a Pro D Day. Pro D Day, what's that stand for? Professional Development Day. That just means they don't go to school.
BS Day.
And right, so they had like 2 full days of school, 2 half days of school, and then a no day of school. So a little less efficient. And
somehow they managed a fire drill during one of those half days.
Of course. Well, you know what?
It's good to do them,
right?
Whatever. Yeah, I guess if they're doing nothing else anyway.
So anyway, yeah, a little bit awkward week. Didn't really get a lot done. It wasn't a very productive week. And one of my kids was sick through it. So they even missed like the fun half days.
Oh, yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah, and it's one of those like never ending coughs that just keeps getting worse and worse. But now it's been around for about a week. But
well, it's getting choked up. It's getting choked up.
No, it's dusty in the office still. So that's one of the things, like when you don't have the greatest of health, you have to time how you do your chores. So even though the driveway is really dirty right now from all the cutting that all the construction folk have been doing for us, I'm not going to go and sweep that driveway because it is.
We got rain
strenuous
today too, so you don't even need to.
I know, and it just ruined everything. No, now it's going in the sump that I want to be clean. But no, so I'm not going to go out and do that because I know there's more construction work coming. I'm not going to go out and do that a few times. I'm going to wait. And same thing with like all the flooring. So there's a lot of dust in the office, but it's a lot of work. I know it sounds silly, but it's a lot of work for me to actually get done. So, I'm waiting until it's all done. And then I forget about the podcast when it comes to the dust. And then all of a sudden I'm like, like one of the dwarves, with the massive noses from Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. You got to put your finger under their nose. Anyway. But I was letting my son play more video games than I normally do because it's awesome being sick home from school. And he was talking to me about all the sweet stuff that he's doing in Minecraft. And he's getting the revelation now of like, Dad, the more difficult the level, the higher the item levels of the gear drops.
Oh, that's fun.
So the more difficult I get, the better the gear is. And I'm like, yeah, man, yeah. And like he's going on and he's talking about the concept of the game and he's getting all excited. Oh, Dad, I'm getting new base types. They weren't available before. I'm getting a rapier now. It's so awesome. And I'm like, this is just like Path of Exile, but for kids, and I love it. Yeah, it is a really good game. They even have mods and stuff in the game, like map modifiers. But anyway, it was fun to hear him talk Path of Exile talk. It was fun to hear him talk Path of Exile talk.
Was that you?
The banging is my kids.
Oh no!
So when I'm finished.
No, it's fine. It's fine. No, they'll be fine.
No, this is an obedience thing. It's not a podcast. I told them no running in the hallway while I'm recording.
I thought you just like were telling me a story and were so emphatic with it that you had to like bang it.
Justin, I have amazing mic etiquette. Okay, this is episode 159.
You're getting there. You're getting
That's
there.
Right. If my dad, who taught public speaking, could hear me speak, he would roll over in his grave. The amount of I remember when he was doing a lot of speaking, and I'd hear him do a lot of speaking, he would always say, never have fill-in words. Silence is fine.
Yep.
Silence is better than fill-in words.
Totally.
So never say like, never say never say
It's tough.
And I am loaded with those. If maybe Justin takes that out for me to make me sound better, I don't know, but man.
I think I used to in our early episodes. I don't anymore. I don't take any of our stuff out. I'm like, we'll figure it out. We'll either learn or suck it up.
That's right. Just the raw Justin and Tyler. But anyway, yeah. So it was fun to hear my son talk to me about like the lingo and getting the concepts and getting excited about it. So that was kind of cool.
That's fun.
But it's nice. We actually, today's the first day in months that we've had rain.
Yeah. Very needed.
Very much needed. Yeah. So pretty nice. And the crazy timing too, because so yesterday is our newspaper day and we've had extreme air quality warnings the last almost, I'd say 4 or 5 days. It's been on the Weather Network, the highest rating that could be, like just stay inside. And it's because of the people where we live were in
there's smoke,
just forest fires from all around, and then where we live the smoke just kind of stays, and it takes rain to get rid of. And so anyway, I'm picking the kids up, and it's at the dangerous levels, but we have to pick them up and get them home, so we're walking and we have to do the newspaper route and that. I'm like, crap. So it's the highest rating's 11, right? And it was at a 9 when I went to pick up the kids. It was a half day, right? So we have our lunch when we get home, and then we walk back out. All of a sudden, it's a 7. And then as we keep going, it dropped down to a 4, which means you could see the clouds.
Yesterday, I had to drive into town for a meeting, and I was like, "Blue sky? What is this? There's a sun." It's so weird.
First time in a week. It was crazy. So, but it was really cool timing because I was really nervous about how to get this newspaper route done with the kids, but couldn't really come up with a decent strategy because you're still having to be outside for an hour and a half marching around. So I told them no running or jogging, just, normal walking. But by the end of it, it was normal. It was a really cool coincidence how it all worked together. So
sweet.
Anyway, rock on. Good week. How about you? Good week?
Yeah. Yep. It was fine. It was, I played some Path of Exile because we had our private league going on, but it was meetings, a lot of meetings. So there were a couple times where I was in meetings while playing, which is really hard to do, to try and make it seem like you're engaged. But also,
you're playing hardcore,
right? Because I'm a few times shitting my pants, not trying not to die. So, and it's all online. So yeah, the week was good. There was actually a couple things that I went to Victoria. That was fun.
Oh, right.
Because we recorded early last episode. So I went for a wedding on the island, and it was fun going. Like I like going to the island with my kids and my wife. Like we have a good time. There's lots of stuff to do. Weddings are fine. It was my girls' first time going to a wedding, so they were super excited. They had never been to a wedding before.
Oh, they're at that fun age where everything's fantastic.
Yeah, they had a blast, and so we were dancing with them and having a good time, and they had a great time. And
you were dancing?
Yep.
So we know the level of alcohol you've consumed.
No, I didn't have that much. Listen, I'll dance with my girls, but also normal. If I'm just going to dance, yes, I will have some drinks. I did have some drinks, but I was completely fine. I took a flask.
I'm going to dance with you.
I took a flask with me to this wedding. It was loaded up with some of that Glenfiddich IPA. So every time my kids had to go to the bathroom, I would take them to the bathroom and then sneak out the side and drink.
That's hilarious. So was there was no alcohol at the wedding?
There was, but it was taking too long to get to that point. And so I started early. Maybe flasks
are common in other cultures, but in our culture, flasks are just, nope, not common.
They're not common,
that would have been pretty awesome. No,
not common. It sat perfectly in my jacket inside pocket and popped out quite a few times. And then eventually when drinks came out, I just opened a tab at the bar and Christina and I had some drinks. But yeah, it was a good time. Victoria is super nice. I love Victoria. I like to visit there. I definitely wouldn't want to stay there. It's so busy, but yeah, it's such a fun place to go visit. And my kids also, the girls hadn't been on the ferry before, so they hadn't been on, because of COVID, we couldn't do it for a while. So going on the big boat was really fun for them. Although, man, kids are stupid. Like it's like they have no concept of the fact that you could go over that rail and into freezing cold water, and then your very angry dad is going to have to jump. And they're just, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but when my kids do something dumb like that, like where they're on the edge and they start to lean, or they start to jump up, I get the most painful pain in my balls. Like it's just like it's so terrifying.
like a roller coaster.
Oh my God, it's awful. So I was like, just put your feet on the floor. They were driving me crazy. But yeah, whatever. They had a good time.
Nobody died. Nobody went over the edge.
Nobody jumped over the edge. Nobody fell. You can't have they don't do the buffet anymore on the ferry. They stopped that because of COVID, so it's just not a thing.
Oh, so it's just White Spot now?
Yeah, and not great, man. Not great.
Well, their triple O's is not restaurant triple O's, and it's twice the price.
Yeah, the price was to be honest, the price wasn't terrible. Like for all of us to eat, I want to say was around $60 or $70, which for White Spot, that's not that
for 5
bad.
people?
Yeah, that's not terrible.
Wow.
But maybe a little bit higher. But the burger was like I've never seen so much bacon on a burger. Like, this is not the US. Calm down. 2 pieces is plenty. I don't need 8 pieces on a burger.
Whoa.
I don't.
You're a little out to lunch.
Dude,
on
they
this
were
one.
thick.
Your opinion is incorrect.
They were thick. They were
That's
not
the way it's supposed to be.
No, and it wasn't edible. It was like hard. Like, I like crunchy bacon. This was, how do you be hard and chewy? That's what it was. It was hard and chewy. Like, I don't know how that combo
Sorry,
works.
my brain
right? It doesn't make
isn't
sense.
in bacon anymore.
But I don't know, but that's what it was, and it wasn't great, and it was slobbery and a mess all over the place. But whatever. My kids
could eat an entire pack of bacon for one meal.
Dude, I should have sent you a picture of the pile of bacon beside my burger.
That would have been you put it beside your
burger.
burger.
It was too much. I pulled it out.
Oh, Justin. Oh, you make me so mad.
It's crazy.
So my bacon, Justin, it can't be crispy.
You don't like crispy bacon? You like chewy?
Oh yeah.
Ew.
Oh yeah.
That's gross. Yeah.
Not when I make it, it's not.
Yeah, it probably is. Anyway, it was a fun week. I had a ton of stuff to do work-wise. School was whatever. Because we're in multiple schools. Yesterday we had a teacher interview at 1:50 at one school and at 2:10 at a different school. So, and they were all like 10-minute things. So, and the 1:51 that we were supposed to go to was running late because of the parent in front of us.
Of course.
So,
you had the problem parent.
Yeah, but in the end, like I don't know, we're not even 2 months, we're a month and a half into school. So, I mean, what's a parent teacher interview going to do?
Right.
Yeah, your kid's fine. Cool.
Teach my kids, make them good in the next grade. Yeah. That's what I care about.
That's right. Anyway, it was overall, it was a fun week. I had a lot of fun playing Path of Exile in our private league. We'll chat about that pretty soon. And I tried a new game out that I like sometimes just chill games. So I found this game called Planet Crafter. It just happened to pop up on my Steam like suggested list because I played games like I think it's called Satisfactory, and like they're like world building games, like you're sort of like whatever building the world. But this one's called Planet Crafter. It's an early access, and you're terraforming a planet. Like you're like a convict, and so you're thrown onto this far out planet, and it's your job to terraform it or die. And so you have to like build stuff and collect resources, and there's no enemies or anything. It's just you sort of against the environment and keeping track of oxygen and water and food and whatnot. But what's really cool about it is there's stages to the planet's progress. So it's almost like time is moving, like the speed that you can terraform this planet is moving much faster than it actually would, where you're trying to like heat up the core of the planet, and you're trying to produce oxygen and biomass and heat and stuff like this. And as you progress that, the planet itself actually changes. And like to the point that I got a warning from this random message, and he was like, we've been told that in order to be successful, make sure you plan ahead and don't build your shelter low. And I was like, well, that's weird. Why are they saying that? So then I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. So I just built like a stairway to heaven, and then built this big, huge platform. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to build my base up here. I'm going to be safe. I'm going to be whatever. And sure enough, like way, way, way into the game, I mean, not way, but multiple hours into it, one of the formations that changes is lakes start to develop when rain starts, and my base would have been underwater. So like it's a fun game. So anyway, that's kind of like taken some of my time since I died, because I played that last night for a little bit, because I did die in the private league.
What a loser.
But we'll talk about that. Let's talk about that. Is that in here? Do you want to do this week in PoE first? Let's do some catch up on PoE.
Sure.
Because we missed one thing that came out right after we recorded last time.
Yeah, but huge. That was a big part of our.
We talked about it.
It is a big deal. To me, it was very telling. To me, sure.
I think you look into it a little bit more than I do. But yes.
Well, I probably read into things that aren't there. But still, it was nice seeing the t-shirt competition stuff and
they got their finals
Twitch highlights again. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Build of the week again. I didn't get a chance to look at it though. It just came out last night and I've been busy.
Something about hot stepping. Sounds fun.
Ooh, hot stepper, Frostblink, Elementalist. Oh, right. Frostblink doing all the damage. Sweet, sweet. Did you read the second part of the Q&A for audio that came
Obs, Ty. Obs.
Yeah. And this is your thing. I don't understand half the questions, but I tried to read
a lot of the stuff I knew because we talked to Camille a lot about some of this stuff in episode 50 that we did. Yeah. And it was fun to see him also answering with Kane. We should have Kane on sometime. It'd be fun to talk to him. But so a number of the stuff that people asked was some similar stuff that we had talked to him about with regards to like instruments used, and I've talked to him privately about the DAW he uses and software that they use and stuff. So it was cool though. I love all this stuff. I actually think the first one might have been a little bit more like informative and kind of, I think they picked better questions for the first one. Not that these ones are bad. These questions were still great, but yeah, I don't know. I love all of this stuff. Anything that they talk about with regards to music and audio is right up my alley. And there wasn't anything in there that I was like, oh, that's something new or I didn't really know. The only thing I was surprised about is how many sounds can play at once when you play on high. That was a little bit surprising.
Right.
Like what the tier of, how many sounds can play at one time based on which setting you have.
Before they start replacing each other.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that at 128 sounds could start replacing each other. That might be a bit much if more than 128 sounds are trying to play at once. But yeah, it was
what
fun.
It sounds like is like the thing that I like about audio is it's all about feeling and atmosphere.
Yep.
Like there's no right or wrong answer, because someone else will be like, yeah, no, that sounds fantastic. Another person's like, oh no, it's too much. Someone else is like, it's not enough, more cowbell.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not sure it still has the effect people think it does on performance. So I think that's still like an old argument that people used to make, that they see a performance when they turn the audio off. I haven't seen a dip or a change if I turn audio on or off, and I definitely play with the audio on. So,
but you have you always keep a high end PC.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be based on the computer. I mean, I get the bugs, which we've talked about, but that's not based on, that's something with the game. There's something going on with it. That's not performance. And I imagine I imagine when you play on the Xbox, your sound is probably on. I'm not sure that you're seeing, like it's all optimized to run on those. Well, I mean, optimized dish, but it runs on your Xbox and audio's on. So I just feel like most PCs can probably handle that. And that if you were going to disable something, there's probably better options to disable. Yeah. I just don't think audio tends to be the thing that leads towards latency or performance issues. So
there's probably larger factors that go into it.
That's what I would think. Yep. But otherwise, I thought it was great. I love hearing from them. I really respect both of them. So I think that's I think that's cool that they did it.
Yeah, for sure. What else do we have? Mystery box and a mystery box. The Illusionist Whirling Blades, Cobra Lash, and Venom Gyre came out. The seasonal Halloween effects came back.
And I saw people tagging you in Discord for that.
Oh, the skeletons are back. I bought 2. One of the only things I purchased, full price, but skeletons. I bought 2 for the Xbox.
If you put them in your hideout, do they randomly run around?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, that is awesome.
And every time they move, their arms are flailing in the air. And then they like do their dance, do their jiggle, or they do their singing into the microphone. And so, but I might need to buy 2.
How much are they
for the PC?
How much are they?
Didn't even look.
I need to get some. I looked the day that somebody tagged you because I was in game, but they weren't showing in the store. So I don't know if it just hadn't updated yet or what.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't checked yet, but I think I'm going to. You have to, right?
You gotta.
I have 2 ducks.
Because then you'll have them.
And then then you have them.
Then you have them.
We missed out the day that we'd normally record, but we recorded a day early last week. There was a small patch that came out, D-patch. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. But then the day we did record, but it was in between. So on Thursday we recorded, and then an announcement of what to expect over the coming months, posted by Path of Exile, came out. And then we had After Dark. So some of this we have covered in After Dark, but we've had a little bit more time to dwell on it as well.
One of us.
Well, yeah, you read something, you're like,
I moved on, Ty. I moved on.
I know, but I can't function like that. You watch a movie and barely watch it, and at the end you shrug your shoulders a bit. Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Hey,
what did I just
speaking
do?
of
I screwed up my whole window thing.
Have you heard of a show called The Patient with Steve Carell? It's on Disney Plus.
I've heard of it.
You should check it out.
Why?
It's a very interesting story. It's a really cool. We're the 25th of October. The finale comes out because there's 10 episodes and 9 are out so far. So Christina and I started watching because I was like, I heard about this show. Very good, very good. Steve Carell's like a super serious character. He's a therapist, and it's really good. I will say one thing that's kind of funny though. When we started to watch it, so we watched the episode and we're like, wow, they like jumped us right into the story. This is crazy. Like, what is happening? And then the end of the episode ends and it goes start. You know how like Disney Plus, first off, they make you go to the very end before it starts the like, do you want to start the next one? But it pops up and says episode 6 is about to start. And I was like, what? And I went back and somehow we started on episode 5.
Oh, that sucks so much.
So I had to go back and start on episode 1. But we were both laughing. We're like, well, it's a flashback now. We know sort of.
You have such good spirits.
Yeah, don't do what we did. Start at episode 1.
That's awesome.
Anyway, sorry.
No problem. I'm gonna go yell at my kids.
Oh, okay.
Be back. I'm gonna go lock them in cages. So give me a couple minutes.
Sweet.
And now I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Hi.
And now I'm gonna go watch a movie. All right. So
do you know how fast those cuts are gonna be?
but it's not gonna make any sense.
Tyler's back.
All right. So last week, just after we finished our episode, GGG came out with what to expect over the coming months. And I thought this was, I don't know, my guesses, my reading between the lines, which are never accurate. To me, it was pretty cool. It was pretty telling. They were talking about the schedule going into 320 and that they're pushing back. So we're going to have what was an extra 3 weeks-ish of 320.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be releasing 320, what was it, 2 weeks before Christmas?
Yeah.
And they said that that's the perfect time frame between, like they said, they have their best retention during Christmas when the release is relatively close to Christmas. Yeah, but they said that they've also heard the complaints that, or like I'm paraphrasing here, but they emphasized that it's also that 2 weeks before Christmas. I forget if it actually said 2 weeks or not, but that time frame from when they're planning on releasing before Christmas still gives the team enough time to do a lot of the fixes that they would normally do at the beginning of a league.
It just says
before they go on their Christmas break.
In addition, the date is clear of any holiday time our developers are taking.
Right. So my criticism in the past has always been that they release a league, and that's always been when they had in the past when they would do that annual like end game Atlas change type of thing. They would release it and then, the office is empty type of thing, and you'd have to wait until the middle or end of January for the big fixes that should have happened at the beginning of December. That's when it would happen. So that was always my criticism to the December launches. But I mean, if it's taken into consideration, hopefully it's a smooth release for them. But it seems to be like it's going to be a very big deal because they said that they're going to be doing multiple balance manifestos.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a massive change, though it probably is. Any manifesto is a big change. But because it seems like it's going to be multiple subjects, they're just doing a manifesto per subject as opposed to having one big manifesto that tackles everything.
Which they also said at the risk of spoiling some of the stuff for the reveal, which is where I'm kind of like torn a little bit on it.
Yeah. Well,
I think
the past,
the idea,
we've been... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think the idea of engaging their community is a good thing, especially because they had a bit of a debacle and some issues this league with their communication. But I also don't, I'm probably way outside of the norm on this. I don't really want to be over communicated to. Just make your game the way you want to make it and make sure it's good. In the end, if how you want the game to be is the way it is and it's playable and good, then that's fine. I can bitch and moan about something I might not like, but as long as it's playable, it's fine. And if you are doing some major, I see, even on this one, on the changes thing, again, I know I'm not in the norm, but I don't actually care. If they say they're going to be nerfing something and don't give us the full details and then we find out it's way worse, you just like, that's just part of playing the game. You figure it out. And so I don't know. I know I'm not in the majority on this one, but I don't really want to be over communicated to. I kind of want them to do their thing, make it the way they want it to be, but make sure what they make is good. That's all I care about in the end. Yeah. I'm not going to get involved in like, whoa, this balance needs to happen and this should be working. I don't care. I'm just going to play the game anyway. So that's not where I fall. I want the game to be good. I want a league that's engaging. Kalandra was not. I want the league to be engaging and I want the game to be in a good playable state. The rest of it, I can figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get where they're coming from. I think it's cool. It'll be interesting to see how they do this because they're going to be having multiple manifestos this time and they're doing it with the purpose of trying to engage the community in communication. So, but also, and I'm part of it, we're idiots. Like the community in general.
The fan base.
Yeah. Like sure, we might have our feelings and thoughts towards it, but we're not part of the development. We might just be part of the like input towards, maybe, I don't even know what we are, because we don't know about balance. The community doesn't. We might have an idea, but really, unless you're Mark GGG, to understand the full complexity of the game, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that the community is a great source of like, I don't know. I can't tell sometimes if it's like a snake oil thing to like make people just, just appease them and let them get it out there. But I do think it's good, because what it will do is it will drive people back to talking about Path of Exile, to reading the manifestos, to giving their voice, to, make them feel special, which is always good. I don't want I enjoy the reveal being fun. I enjoy their, that right before the league and learning new things. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide what they're going to still keep a secret.
Yes, I agree. I felt bad for them this league, because their whole intent this league was to be very clear on communication. That was something that's been for the past few leagues now, where they've been improving communication. And so I felt really bad for them this time, because whatever it was that they excluded was, I mean, I doubt that was intentional. It was, but I doubt it was intentional, because it seemed like everything that they were doing was with the intent of being better. And then, it comes back. It's like, I'm trying so hard. It's like, I forgot it. I'm sorry. We're doing better. Shut up, fan base.
Exactly. Yeah.
But still, though, it was a big thing. I'm the fan where I'm sure previous episodes make me a massive hypocrite, and I jump on whatever bandwagon, and I really wish or hope that I don't, or wish that I didn't, but I love the balance manifestos. But I'm with you. Like, I like knowing. I remember when I first started getting into these games, and I saw companies, because I'm used to playing and working at EA, and they'll make a massive update and it'll say like bug fixes, improved balance.
Right.
And that was it.
GG
and then
is very all of a sudden, good at that.
Right. And so then I start getting into Diablo, right? Diablo 3 was one where, I mean, I enjoyed some of the other ones that we used to play co-op on Xbox way back in the day, and they were so fun. But then, what was the one that was like this massive guy, huge axe, golden something?
Well, there was Golden Axe. That was back in the Sega days.
Was it
that
Golden
was
Axe?
Amazing. Yep.
Oh, wasn't it? Oh, anyway. So yeah, we used to have a lot of fun with these games, and Armada on the Dreamcast, but they were never my primary. And then all of a sudden on my own, Diablo started taking over like the ARPG thing. And then I started seeing their patch notes, and I'm like, oh, this is like, I nerded out. I'm like, I love knowing these changes. Totally. Right. And so then all of a sudden, of course, I kind of wake up a little bit, and Diablo is absolute garbage. And I'm introduced to Path of Exile. And now these patch notes are
reintroduced. Path of Exile. You were introduced.
No, I caught on the first time. Nope. And anyway, like, it's just, I love the patch notes. But then when you have a dev manifesto where it's like, we want to actually just explain to you the changes. To me, I love it. I love the thoughtfulness. I love knowing, like, when I first started seeing that Chris and Jonathan were getting interviewed and they would just talk freely about their game, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So to me, the dev manifesto is really cool. I absolutely love it. And I remember in the past, we were critical of the patch notes for withholding information for the sake of spoilers. I remember there was going to be some new skills, but see, that was kind of an awkward, that's a weird gray area for me anyway, because I mean, the reveal, like, marketing's huge, and the value, and they've emphasized that a million times. Like, that's like a huge source of income. So you want to properly advertise, your new stuff, but at the same time, your patch notes actually need to be reliable, and you can't intentionally exclude stuff from your patch notes. So it was an awkward,
especially because patch notes come out after the reveal, and in my opinion, and I could be completely wrong, but by the time patch notes come out,
the thing.
You should know. There shouldn't be questions by the time patch notes are rolling out.
Well, and especially with how this game works when it comes to knowledge, you look at a Reddit post from 6 months ago, you have no idea if it's legit anymore. Just because of how this game changed, and especially the last 2 years. Because before, the core game was just, it didn't change much. It barely changed. And these last, my heat turned on for the first time in like 3 months now. I'm like, what's that sound?
What is that noise?
Sorry. I know people won't hear the delay, but I was like silent for 10 seconds. They're wondering what is that sound? But it's my heat. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, but I'm excited for the Dev Balance Manifesto. I'm with you, where I really hope that the company really, and I really love it when they do stick to their guns on many things. There are things that I disagree with them on,
100%,
but
me
I
too.
always, the more a company sticks to their guns, the more you can trust them. Even if it has nothing to do with the way you want the game or the direction to go. But if they stick to their guns, they're a lot easier to trust going forward.
Especially if there's reason behind that why.
Yeah.
And even if I disagree with it, then you can at least accept it. You might not like
Right.
it, but it is what it is.
GGG is always going to put out a very legit reason for why they're making this choice. And like you said, we know what we have in the game. So up to 319, and then whatever they choose to reveal to us, they have the next 3 years figured out. Like, so they know what wishes we have that would conflict with whatever, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm excited for the balance manifestos, but how they're talking about balance manifestos and how they're even willing to reveal some things that they would normally have hidden, you know, for the sake of the reveal video that they're going to do on Twitch. It got me thinking, like, all right, so they're having multiple manifestos, which means there's multiple big things changing that we need to have explanations for. So they're not tweaks, they're not this, but there's like, these are big changes and there's going to be multiple versions of them. So lots is changing to the point where they're willing to forego spoilers. Now, obviously, not the major ones.
They also said, though, that it wasn't that they wanted to make sure it was clear that this shouldn't be an expectation of major changes. Like they say that very specifically. They just say we want more information to come out early and to share it. But that they want it to be clear that it doesn't mean that there's going to be huge changes.
Sure.
Yeah.
But this still, with my mind going and making this more into more than it is, it's like, okay, they know when Path of Exile 2 is coming out. They obviously know that because they have their second ExileCon date. They have their plans. They know, like, things are going to happen, right? Path of Exile 2 is probably going to be announced at that date or launched then, whatever it's going to be, right? You know, it's going to be a big deal because people are spending thousands of dollars to do it. But now you have all this stuff. Now they have that date. They have, okay, this is what we can put in Path of Exile 1 that's going to help Path of Exile 2. Remember when they said that the first ExileCon, they're going to implement as much as they can beforehand that isn't Path of Exile 2 specific. So now they have all this stuff coming in. And to me, it's like, okay, we have a lot we want to put in because we have this, and this, and they're willing to do it even for the sake of spoilers.
I just had a funny thought. What was the game? I don't remember what it was where they, at the reveal, said that it was going to be available now. What was the game? We talked about this before too.
Oh, that was Bethesda.
Yeah, what was the game?
And it was their mobile game, the Vault game that you play. Remember?
No, it was something else. It was an actual major title release, and it wasn't even like, hey, we're announcing that this is coming out in the future. This is going to be available.
No, this was the Fallout 4, I think, launch, and they blew the community away because Fallout 4 was coming out in 6 months, which was nuts. But then they had another major announcement, which was they were coming out with a mobile game, and it was available immediately as of that announcement.
I thought there was one that was like that the actual game, because it made me just laugh to myself that, can you imagine if at ExileCon they announced that Path of Exile 2 is available now, and all the people who are at ExileCon are like,
I can't play. Everyone else, so they spend thousands of dollars, and then everyone else that's at home gets to start playing it right away. Anyway. That would be hilarious. But no, like, so to me, I don't know, just, and I'm reading way too into it, but I start thinking like, okay, they have their plan, but they have so much that they want to implement that now they're doing this, and this, just this league going forward. So, but anyway, I'm excited because this league, I was surprised that their Kalandra reveal league was so unsuccessful.
It was very lackluster.
Well, yeah, and then all the changes they made alongside with it were dangerous for such an important lore reveal.
Sure.
So you know what I mean? So unfortunately, like, now if it all works out, it becomes the best launch ever. You reveal Kalandra, you reveal the best loot in the game, you reveal like, oh, look at these sweet harvest changes. Like, if it all works out and the fans like it, it's the best reveal ever. But unfortunately, it was multiple things that the fan base, who knows what GGG thinks, but the fan base
weren't fans of,
for the most part, fans of. So I'm excited to see what this is. I'm excited to see how many short-term changes there are and how many long-term additions there are, or changes. Because it's a pretty unique one where we know they're now on crunch time for PoE 2, but this wasn't a successful league. So
yeah, be interesting. And then they changed hard mode. It's now called Ruthless when it comes out.
Now there's 2 bone armors, now there's 2 Ruthless. Except Ruthless isn't really in the game anymore. I think do they still? Well, Ruthless is just called. There's a Ruthless support, and then it's a difficulty for the trials, right? Didn't they have normal, cruel, ruthless, and merciless?
No, merciless and then uber.
Because there's 4.
Yeah.
Oh, it's merciless then uber. Now, ruthless used to be when it was a different game. The same game. There was a screenshot of it on Reddit. Somebody was saying, "I've already played Ruthless," and it was the 3rd. Remember, you had to play through the 3 or 4
I remember
acts,
playing them through multiple
4 times.
Maybe it was
the 3rd version was called Ruthless.
I thought it was merciless.
I think that was the 2nd one. No,
cruel. Second.
Cruel.
I'm sure it was cruel than merciless. I don't remember.
I think merciless was number 4. Anyway, they showed a screenshot. Okay, so it's legit. All right, shut your face.
That.
But yeah, no, it's called Ruthless, and it's alpha's coming out, so that's gonna be pretty exciting.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm gonna play it. Are you gonna try? I'm probably gonna try it.
I'll try it, but I remember joking about it in After Dark, like, well, if GGG keeps up to their shenanigans of not letting us make a hardcore solo self-found league for the current league for our private leagues, maybe we'll have to do a Ruthless version. And then I played our private league and I was like, F that. This is already bad enough for trying to get gear in solo self-found. To do it with even less loot, no thanks. Maybe in a trade league, it wouldn't be so bad.
But that would be fun for our next private league if we could do that.
If you could do it with trade, then it might not be so bad because you're already seeing limited amounts of stuff. You know what would be fun is to go back to what it used to be, which was very, 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 very few of the skill gems were actually available to you, and the rest had to drop. Because I was thinking about that while I was playing. That used to mean a cool idea. Such a lot, because if a gem dropped, then it was like, okay, what do I do now? Because you didn't have access. I love having access to all of them. So in the normal league, don't do that. But in some other modifier, it was a lot of fun to have to try and actually find some of the gems you were hoping to get, because the ones that were available were very, very basic skill gems.
That's interesting.
Anyway,
you'd definitely have to have you'd have to change everything.
Well, you're just talking loot filter, because you wouldn't have to.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. You would have to be able to have some pretty strict restrictions on that.
You would want I would guess in the Ruthless version, you aren't running a filter besides changing the color of stuff. Because it sounds like you just want to see everything that drops, which I don't know how much that's for me.
You have to play to find out.
Yeah.
Private league. We played a lot. We both played.
So it ends. This will come out on Sunday. It'll end on Monday at 2 a.m. because that's what we did on purpose. And, yeah. So how did you do, Ty? How did you find the private league? Tell me what you played.
It's not fun, but it's fun. Like the community stuff is fun. Like seeing where people are, chatting with people. But I know that, and most of the criticism that I have isn't like legit for things for, if GGG was to ever listen to this, things that they would need to change for the most part, because they've said, maybe that's changed, but they've said many times, like, we don't make this game for hardcore. We don't make this game for solo self-found. You can play those modes if you like, but we make this game for league trade. That's what all of our decisions are designed around.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I have questions like, why are zombies a level 1 skill when you can't do anything with them? You could start as the witch. You could get you could focus solely on minion survivability right off the bat. They're not going to survive against Brutus. They are not. But
minions aren't the only skill that are like that. Or zombies aren't the only
basic arc. They're a very basic
fireball. Well, yeah, but I mean, there are other minions you could play.
Right, but they don't live either. Zombies have more base life than any other minion. You put in skeletons, you put in SRS, they're not going to live. Yeah, but that's because they have a short duration and they're a casting skill. My point isn't that the zombies, that there's other skills. They have level 1 right off the bat, and they do not live. They cannot live. It is such a weird, it makes no sense. So anyway, but I'm playing zombies, right? Obviously, I'm doing a Scion because that's what we had to do in our private league. And I haven't ascended. I died once at level, I think 20, and then another time at 28. So my first death So I'm going through and I'm trying zombies, but obviously zombies aren't working. I'm just having them there so the gem can level. And for a little bit of, PoE science, I want to see what it is that kills them, what circumstances it is, or enemies, mods,
Yeah,
whatever
28
it
and
is.
20.
Yeah. So I'm playing through and I have the zombies up, but I'm not relying on them at all. One thing that does help a lot is, and I'm really surprised this is a level 1 skill just because it's so strong, but Purifying Flame. No, wait. What's the one that does? No, what's the spell that's an AOE that creates consecrated ground? That's Purifying Flame, right?
Sure. I don't know.
So anyway, I'm casting that, creating consecrated ground, 6% life regen for my minions. It does keep them around a lot more, and it does its own damage. So I'm using that quite a lot. And I'm leveling SRS on the side, but I'm really not using it much because a lot of the times I'm finding that I want groups to die faster. You know what I mean? And my zombies, when I use SRS, my zombies die because I'm not using the consecrated ground skill, right? So I'm using Purifying Flame. I'm pretty sure that's a consecrated ground one. I'm using Purifying Flame lots, but it's such a mana hog. It is really, really strong. Sucks up a lot of mana. So as soon as Incinerate unlocks, that is my go-to. I absolutely love Incinerate. It does very decent damage without any investment because right now, with how my tree works, it's just life and then minion damage, which doesn't impact Incinerate, of course. And it's doing fine. Even on a 3-link, which, I mean, who gets 4 links, right? Even on a 3-link without clarity, I'm totally fine with the mana consumption. So it's quite nice. It's really good. So the first time I'm going through and I'm not at any minion damage nodes yet. And I'm at the Weaver in Act 2, the spider boss, and I got overwhelmed. Big time. Like I just couldn't, like everything was dead. Nothing could live. I got like the 10, I don't know, I'm moving really, really slow because I have those 10 web things. Unfortunately, on controller support, they don't tell you what any of those icons mean, and there's no way to find out. So I have 10
you
webs
can barely
on
tell on PC too.
Right.
Unless you get a mouse over it.
Right. So I'm going through that, but I die. I'm just completely overwhelmed. Nothing's working, and there's a billion spiders on the screen. Everybody's talked about Decoy Totem on a regular basis. For some reason, I never gave it a shot. So round 2, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And Decoy Totem is my favorite skill in the game.
It's amazing.
Move over temporal chains, Decoy Totem, here it is. But no, it was a lifesaver. It made, when I went through, I did the exact same setup again. But I tried to include Decoy Totem, and it worked wonders. It was absolutely fantastic. Of course, zombies don't live, but it was absolutely wonderful. So I was able to get past the Weaver, and then I kept going. I got to Act 3. Yeah, I got to Act 3, and I got to the part where I'm at that waypoint where you can go to the right or northeast, and you go to the gardens, or you keep going up the big steps to the northwest, and then you get to Gravitius. So I'm there, and I'm just about to go. I'm like, oh, okay, finally. Because for whatever reason, all the gems, all the supports that I want are from the library. What's his name? Ziosa. It's just, Fixture of Fate. Right.
Yeah.
Just, it's so annoying that all the ones that I specifically wanted were there. Even Combustion, which is like a really early level skill, I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah, no, could get it. So I'm like, ah, dang it. So anyway, so I'm about there, and I'm like, okay, sweet. Another essence. Let's get going. Destroys me. It was like 1 essence mod, but for some reason it had corrupted blood on it. Oh, it was so frustrating, Justin. I had like 3 Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 all had essences with corrupted blood. What am I supposed to do with that?
Kill them fast.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. So, but there was nothing I could do. I'm like spamming, and that one. So, sometimes I complain that I just don't have life flasks. Like my 3rd playthrough here, I didn't get an upgrade to my small life flask until I hit Act 2.
Right.
Like there was just nothing. I had to beat Merveille on 2 small life flasks.
You can sell 3 of them to get an upgrade.
They weren't dropping. I only had 2.
Check your filter.
I'm getting lots of mana flasks. So anyway, my 2nd playthrough though, where I got to Act 3, I was getting sweet drops. Like I was getting life flasks everywhere. I'm like, they all these big stuff. Yeah, this is gonna be amazing. But not what I'm saying is I had the best life flasks, and I had 4 of them. I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep it up. The corrupted blood was just too much. And I was destroying everything. Like I was doing really, really well. And it didn't even cross my mind that corrupted blood would be there when there really isn't anything for it yet. Like
It's
I've
not
come
you're gonna
across
be rolling
Einhard.
flasks.
No, and it's not like even with Einhard that I'll be able to get that right away. Who knows what? I mean, I've come across Einhard 2, maybe 3 times so far, so I don't have the stuff to do it yet. So that was really disappointing because it wasn't anything that I did wrong. It was just a skill that I had no hope against. So it took every time I die, it's like 2 days later, I'm ready to play again. I hate going through the campaign.
Right after.
And so it takes a couple days for me to actually want to enjoy it. I really don't want to play when I'm not going to enjoy it or being forced to. But I did make some discoveries, Justin.
Okay.
So I am having like that kind of stuff's frustrating where, okay, I want to play zombies, but I can't. Right. So obviously I'm going around and I'm choosing other skills that are efficient, but it's my level 1 skill can't work until it's level whatever. But did you know, actually, well, I don't know. This is a controller thing. Maybe it's on PC that you can hit a skill preview button when you're given a quest reward and it's skill gems. There's actually a button on controller. I can hit Y and I can see a video skill preview of the gem
on PC.
I didn't know this was in the game. It's crazy. And underneath the video, it shows you a list. I forget if it was 6 or of 8, but of support gem examples that work well with it.
Oh, that's cool. I
so
would
it's
wonder
showing
if they're
you
like early support gem types.
I think it would be crazy if they gave suggestions
it's
for
like
things
the
you couldn't
38
get
reward or something.
Yeah, that's right. When you pass Act 4, even though you're in
right.
Act 2, you can get this. No, but that was amazing. That's
cool.
really cool. Yeah, so big kudos to GGG for sneaking that one in. Why? Does anyone know when that was added? That doesn't seem familiar to me at all. Watch, it's been in since 3.0. So what else? And last episode I was talking about being able to change your AFK or D&D message. You can.
Oh yeah, did it work?
It is that easy. Yeah, okay. What your suggestion was, but of course people responded. So thank you very much. /AFK or /D&D space and then your message. It works. So that's
cool.
good.
Thought so.
Now, I do a lot of theory crafting, especially with minions, mana reservation, curse efficiency. I didn't know this was an option in one of the masteries.
Okay.
There's a summon skitterbots has 50% increased mana reservation efficiency. I didn't know that was on the tree, but it's in the trap mastery, and I never play traps. But that's why would that be? Oh, do they have something where they have a thing?
They do trigger traps,
right? Because I never play traps, I always ignore that part. Okay, so that does make more sense then. I was going to say like, why are they in the trap mastery? But they actually have a thing where they unlock the traps for you, right? Okay,
yeah, they trigger them.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was cool. I just discovered that in the mastery, so that might be worth if you can find. I don't know if there are any trap clusters, but like a generic one that I don't know. Anyway,
cool.
And then, so anyway, I've fallen in love with Decoy Totem, and I already feel bad. Temporal Change is still my favorite, so Decoy Totem is my second favorite. But Decoy Totem is so cool now because some of my most hated enemies are the rezzers, the ones that resurrect. You see their arms going up and they resurrect faster than you can kill. So the Decoy Totem, though, it actually gets them to prevent from resurrecting people because it forces them to start attacking. So they start doing their swipe attack or their slash attack. So they stop resurrecting. Yeah. So I actually enjoyed once I discovered or actually fell through and started using the Decoy Totem. I actually enjoyed going through some of those dungeons and some of those areas because I didn't have to worry about there being a lot of leftover enemies over and over. So that was really cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So Incinerate and Decoy Totem are amazing together. The Strider Arch Nemesis mod.
Which one is that one?
So whether it's the Fire Strider, like those, that's not the proper name, but there's a Fire Strider.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about.
A Cold Strider, and that's where they actually leave that really thick trail on the ground of fire or cold or lightning. In Act 2, that's insane. Like that completely wiped out my minions. I had to portal out when I was using SRS, skeletons, and zombies because they could not stay alive. There was nothing I could do. So I had to portal out and then I had to come up with something else. It was a Strider thing that made me like, okay, well, I actually can't use minions. So that's when I started using Incinerate. I was planning on using Incinerate anyway, but I wanted to see how far I could get with just the fun laid back method of minions. But yeah, Strider, not an Act 2 thing. No. Wait till people have the opportunity for some resists, because that was insane. So yeah, what else? No, I think that was it. I've been having a good time. It's been a lot of fun interacting with the community and seeing people die. I always feel bad laughing when people die because they get so disheartened. But in my head, I'm like, that's why we're doing this. Give us our deaths. Give us our deaths. But yeah, but I'm not hitting F or, oh, that sucks. That's my consolation for not laughing at them. So yeah, no, I've been having a good time. I don't like hardcore, but that's why we're playing it. To push each other out of the comfort zone. And I was telling someone on one of my broadcasts the other day, I forget who, my apologies, oh no, that's my kids.
Okay.
That's them being quiet screaming while they're playing.
You were telling somebody what?
That I actually quite like. They were asking why I was playing hardcore solo self-found. And I said, well, because Justin hates it and because I hate it. But, and so they obviously, that didn't make a lot of sense. So I explained it. But it also really does, the value of hardcore is quite nice because it reminds me the corners that I cut as a softcore player for survivability. The ones that I'm like, okay, fine, like, you know, that damage boost is huge. I'm gonna go for that in lieu of this defensive aura instead of this offensive aura or whatever it is. And so I do like what, even though I don't like playing hardcore, I do like what hardcore teaches me. And I hope every single time to retain that as I go into my next character building phase. So hopefully, I think it makes people better, and I think it also, in terms of community reaction, if everybody's touched hardcore once or twice, it definitely weathers down the aggression of build improvement suggestions. You know what I mean? There's a mentality in people's minds where it's like, you know, defensive is fine. Like, you don't need a jabillion DPS. Be happy with 100,000 because that's as good as you know, anyway. So I do like what that does if more people did play hardcore. So I'm glad a lot of the top streamers do. So how about you? How was your PoE experience this week?
Good. The private league's been a lot of fun. I too very much more enjoy the interaction with everybody that's online. That's a lot of fun, chatting with people and hearing about builds and drops and seeing the deaths, all that kind of stuff. I started trying, I think you and I talked about in After Dark, I was going to try an SRS and play around with going like heavy into SRS. And that build was going great. And then I finished Act 2, killed the Val boss, got into the city of Sarn. And as soon as you enter the city of Sarn, there's a waypoint right there, right? Like as soon as you leave killing the Act 2 boss. So I ran straight south, like right into the corner, because no mobs are down there. You always start moving sort of like northish in the city of Sarn map tileset, because I had to deal with something, and I have no idea why I didn't just hit the portal and just go to town and wait while I had to deal with something. But I ran to the south. I even waited a few seconds. I'm like, oh yeah, there's nothing here. I should be fine. Left to deal with something. Came back. I don't know, maybe 5 minutes later, and I was dead. And I was like, oh, you have to be kidding me. Like, this is how I lost my character. It's just me walking away from the computer. So that died at 24. And then the second character, I decided to go with Holy Flame Totem, like as the actual primary source of damage, because I've used it tons for leveling. And so I was kind of curious. Why didn't you do
SRS again?
I just didn't want to. It was such a frustrating way to die. And I was like, I got to try something different because that was a little bit annoying. And so I also made life a tiny bit easier on myself by just quickly running a witch through the mudflats, because then there were a few gems that I could get that I couldn't get access to, because the Scion's really weird. Like you get access to technically a lot, but really not. Like I think somebody made the joke in 2121 of it's the jack of all trades but the master of none, because they kind of are. Like it's a very weird
not
class.
Enough cohesion.
So I decided to go Holy Flame Totem, and that was a lot of fun. I actually had a ton of fun playing it. I died at 84. It was actually a relatively tanky character. Like it was me dying in the end was, I'll explain it how it happened, but it was insane damage. It was instant. I instantly died from like 5k health with 80% all res. to all of my resistances. My chaos was like 25%, and like it was a tanky character. It's a lot of damage is taken by your totems, some is taken for mana, but it was tanky. Like I had no problem with Uber Lab was easy. And then I started to push because I was like, well, I know that there's a lottery that's, you know, for higher than me, and I don't want to push too many people out. Wouldn't be fun to have just the top few who are getting prizes anyway in the lottery for it. But I also didn't want to just stop because I wanted to see how far I could push it. And I had a lot of fun. I will say, so here's what hardcore teaches me, hardcore and solo self-found. One, I learn boss fights way differently when I'm playing solo self-found and hardcore because my gear is capped at what I can find, not what I can get. You know what I mean? Like
yes, totally.
I'm never going to be min-maxed playing a solo self-found character. I'm just not. I wouldn't play enough to do it. So, and playing Holy Flame Totem, it was really good for clear, but it wasn't super, super fast for killing bosses. It was fine, but it wasn't nearly as fast as what I was used to. So it was very much a learn the mechanics and actually play the mechanics of a boss fight, which was, I really actually quite enjoyed it because I haven't had to do that in quite a long time. So it was really making sure that I was careful with it. But it also really amplified how shitty some of the AN mods are. Like some of them are just insane. Like heralding minions has got to be one of the worst ones because it's showing up in maps where it's like a really narrow corridor. I can throw a couple totems up, but if they don't die, those things bounce towards me. And now I don't really have anywhere to go because my option is run away from them. They're going to chase me. I have no idea what the range is, but it's very large.
Right. And the delay
into it.
Right. Like the new added delay is.
It just, yeah. So that one, I think that was the absolute worst one. And I ran into it way more often than I thought I would. I also realized that area is inhabited by goatmen. Normally, I would never even think twice about that. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying in hardcore.
It's all off screen. They jump from off screen and they shoot from off screen.
And they have I don't know if they're just gifted some of the worst modifiers for Arch Nemesis, but they have some of the absolute worst. And also one thing that I have to always remind myself, because you can get rid of it through one of the pantheons, but is enemies attacks can chain is really dangerous because it hits the totem and then bounces back towards me.
Yeah.
And it does a really, really large amount of damage. But yeah, it did amplify that some of the Arch Nemesis modifiers were just so much worse than what I'm normally used to. Because like we've talked about this before, you get to a certain point where you're just blowing through and it doesn't matter. But in a solo self-found environment, your chances of getting to that point are relatively low without a large amount of time invested. And when you throw hardcore on top of that, you can't really screw up to try and see what it was like. So I really had a good time. It was a ton of fun playing with people. In the end, what I died to, I was doing a map and I was doing my Atlas, and I decided to go ritual with my Atlas just because I thought, whatever, it's hard. I'm going to see if I can do it. It's my best chance of trying to get gear because I hated everything else. I really was not enjoying any of the other options within the Atlas, but it wasn't that killed me. I had all the modifiers though that got me the bonuses for what you can get for your map craft. And so one of them was an alluring Val side area, which is not a big deal because it just typically means that the boss will drop one of the fragments, like the mortal fragments for the Uber version of her. So I had cleared out this area. I went to do the boss, and you know the mob that like hulks over top of corpses and like consumes them and then spits them at you?
Spit blood at you.
Right. It was one of those, but what had happened is the modifier on the Val side area was extra projectiles, and there was a mob in the room with him with hasted. And so I had thrown the totems much further ahead of me, and my totems taunt for the first second that they're put down. So the totems go down. I'm a bit behind at a doorway, and I'm casting my mines to put Wave of Conviction on because it's a lot of damage plus the minus the resistance. And he literally, I wish I had it recorded how fast it was. He hulked over. I thought I had my totems down to taunt, but I don't think they taunted at the time that he was going to attack. They taunted at the time he was consuming the corpse.
Mm-hmm.
And he just stood up and like 400 friggin' projectiles just came flying at me, and I went instantly poof. Like it was, it wasn't even like there was like a delay or anything. It was just gone, and it made me laugh. I was like, well, there's the target. That's it.
And that's your last character.
Yeah, that'll be the last one. That got to 84. So anyone who gets above me will be in the draw for the other lottery. But I did have a good time with it. Scion's a weird class to me, although I did feel like Scion's an interesting class to really plan out. But Scion is a terrible class for a new player, like awful class for a new player. But I think if you get more into it, there's some fun things you can do with the class, and the tree actually becomes quite interesting when you get to finishing Uber, because now you can kind of go, can I adjust my points a little bit? Is there a way for me to actually maybe, based on where I am on the tree, save points by starting from another location? And it's kind of fun to get like multiple ascendancies into one, but it's still not one of my top picks because it's slow in the beginning. Like it's really tough. Like to get to anything. That's actually one of the reasons I decided to try totem, was within 6 points, I could at least get to totem skills. Like there were totem passives on the tree within about 6 points. So it at least helped, because when I was doing SRS, you're going a bit before you get to, I literally didn't do minion. I actually did duration. I did skill duration to just try and keep the minions up longer while I tried to work my way up towards minion damage. So it was fun. I had a really good time. The private league was a blast. There are some people that are just absolutely crushing it. Like Cruz 98 already.
Yeah, not cool. You're uninvited next league.
Bubbles or Dylan, I got 2 people, one at 94 and one at 91. His 91 died, so he re-leveled again. He's at 94 currently in second.
Easy, right?
Third, fourth, and fifth are all dead. So I'm curious, because Art of War and Lumi are both at 89. I'm curious if they can try and get up to 94 or 95 to get that third place spot. But it was fun. And we had a ton of people this league. I was actually shocked how many people wanted to play this private league. I thought 10 would play it with us.
Yeah, because of the Scion restriction.
And yeah, just being different. But yeah, I had so much fun. I'm really happy so many people joined in. We had a blast hanging out with you guys on 2121 and in Discord, and yeah, it was fun. It at least gives us some ideas for future leagues, especially if GGG is going to be turds about how they do private leagues in the future. So that was fun.
It was surprising how much feedback we received that the restriction of a class specific thing was that much fun. Like if we were to do another ascendancy or class specific one, it would probably,
I think Scion's the best one to do it for, though, because it does give you the freedom of going everywhere.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But it was a fun trial and thing to do, and it's not even something I would have ever thought of doing, so it did make it a lot of fun.
Yeah, good suggestion. Awesome.
Good times.
Could you picture doing heralding minions with melee, like a strike skill?
No. The whole time I was playing, I was like, so many of these modifiers. Did you know there's a modifier that just sets your health to half? Executioner. You can't go more than half.
And then they probably have calling strike under 50%, right?
Well, I was like, how do you combine that with some of the other ones? Like, what happens if it rolls with... It was... All of a sudden, I was standing by myself, nothing near me, and my health just went boop down to half. And I'm like, what the hell happened? And somebody was talking about it in chat, and they were like, yeah, it's Executioner. It caps you at 50% health. I'm like, what? How is that?
That's crazy.
How is that a thing? So there were a lot of the modifiers. Also, the whole thing about like magic mobs should only be one of them affected. I don't feel like that's a thing. I don't think
that's working out.
I don't feel like that's working, because there were multiple times where I was fighting some of them were just terrifying, because
I think that might have been specific to the ice cone one, like, you know, where you get trapped.
Like that would cast it. Well, it shouldn't be.
There's certain mods that should not be on magic.
No. Yeah, it definitely, for me, it amplified my hatred of a few of the arch nemesis modifiers that I just don't think are great designs. I don't think they're very fun to play, and I'm fine if they go away.
They're good for a different game that's more controlled, slower paced,
or less. Like, I shouldn't have 8 heralding minions jumping on me when I can't even see the rare that I'm supposed to be killing to get rid of them. That seems insane to me. Like, there should be a very small circle within the range of that beast. But then you really screw melee. So I don't really know what the solution is. But
I think heralding minions, it hits so hard. I'm still though. I'm still
80% resist, and it still was hard.
I'm still a big fan of an advocate of modifiers should impact the enemies, not the person. Map modifiers, arch nemesis modifiers, all of it. Like, this is my character. Leave me alone. I think the only thing that should actually impact the character that comes from a map or an enemy is curses. Because that's what curses are.
So do you mean like buffing their damage or something, or what?
Yeah, so stuff like that changes their damage, their crit chance, this, that, and another thing. But anything that changes like my life regen or my resists or anything like that makes no sense. Like, I've built up this character, I've focused on these mechanics. Map modifiers, buff yourself, like buff them, not
make them harder to kill, maybe not easier to kill you,
right? But don't completely screw over the investment that I put in after all these hours. That makes zero sense to me. That's like saying, okay, you can play Assassin's Creed, but in this level you're not allowed to climb anything. Right? Fun per hour.
Anyway, the private league was a blast. I had a really good time. Congrats to everybody for how well or how poor you did, and hopefully you had fun. And we'll be doing it obviously again next league, and I think it ends tomorrow after this comes out. Well, yeah,
so we'll summarize next week.
Yeah, we'll have a chat about how it all ended up. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Episode 159, Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, AK Tags,
and Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Thanks everybody for supporting the podcast. Patrons will catch you in After Dark. Everybody, will see you next week in 160. If you're looking for more information, you can find it down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We're on Twitter, foreverexiled82. We have a very fun Discord, which you should be a part of. You can find other ways to support the podcast on Patreon. And don't forget to hit that 5-star review, because we love your faces on Spotify and Apple, because those are the only two options that you got. Bye.